And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Got a few guys out there, Insight Freedom, Crazy Scotsman, and Timothy Robinson. Welcome. I'm sure we'll get a few more out. I've got Dan the Firearm Guy, Rich 4150, and TR Prepper. And Papa's Place just checked in. Big Johnson's Guns and Gear, Keith Gregory. Welcome. So I'm going to let them introduce their channels a little bit and talk about some upcoming or whatever if they want to. And Dan, we'll start with you.
Well, my name's Dan. I run the channel called The Firearm Guy. I spent a lot of time on a video I just put up about an hour ago. It has to do with budget guns. And it was a ton of work. It was under 10 minutes, but it was a compilation of budget guns that was kind of fun, but a little stressful too. But I do appreciate you having me on, Trees, and we have a great panel here.
Rich, go ahead.
Guess I should unmute myself. It's Revolver Rich, and I run a gaming channel. I'm like a gaming expert, and really have a lot of fun with it. And I resist and I train on Call of Duty and things like that. Lots of training and resistance. Thank you for the invite.
More than welcome. TR.
Hey, everybody. This is TR Prepper. I don't know what you'd call my channel now. It's just a hodgepodge of different things. Trying to have fun. That's all I can say.
Yeah. You and old El Ray make it. El Ray brightens my day up the other morning when you was popping off that little Ruger. He back there, he was raising all kinds of heck.
Yep, he's usually on cue.
Right on cue,
about
pretty
the
much.
talk, and then he crows out.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Big Johnson, I can actually wear a CZ hat now, bud. I am loving that CZ.
Which one did you get again? You got the 10, didn't you?
No, the 07.
L7. Okay.
Single double action.
It's a great.
I took it out again. It is. I took it out again today and put a couple hundred rounds through it. Did a little bit of holster work, and I got 500 rounds through it, and not a glitch yet. Factory reloads. I took them 150 rounds of powder coated out there today. And that double action trigger is, I guess I'm going to make sure. Yeah. That double action trigger is definitely getting smoother. It's still heavy. Boy, it's a heavy trigger. If somebody's pointing this at somebody, you know, if you're holding somebody and you shoot them, if you got it on double action, it's because you wanted to. It ain't because it's an accident, because you can sit there and, I mean, that thing's a good 10, 11 pounds at least.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess probably 12 to 14. It's like
that's what suits said, around 12 pounds, and it may be. You know, it's hard to judge with my stupid fingers and hands anyway. They're so numb and stuff, but
yeah, I'm gonna grab mine.
It's heavy.
Yeah, that's a sweet gun you got there. I will warn you that CZs are addictive. They really are, and
I see what all the hubbub is about with these.
Yeah, the double action is heavy. No question about it. Sweet single action for sure.
Oh, it does. I mean, it's just got that little bit of take up, and then it's got a nice. Got one little glitch there before she falls, but man, it's a nice trigger.
Yeah, that double action.
I like it.
Yeah, I just measured the double action on mine. It looks like 9.5 pounds on this one, which I've shot up. I put a bunch of rounds through it, so I think it's lightened up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, in all the scales I've been looking at, I was over at Cabela's the other day, and I picked up one of them wheelers. I think you got that one, don't you, Dan?
Yeah, I like it. It seems accurate, but let's see, it only goes up to 8 pounds. So
8 pounds. Well, even the digitals I look at, they don't go up to that high either. They're usually around 10. Ones I see, I was looking at a Lyman electronic, and I think it only went to 12.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I got to know RCBS, but I wanted a little bit better one because that RCBS that I got trigger gauge is about 40 years old, maybe 30, 40 years old anyway.
Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna get a new one. Matter of fact, if you guys have any suggestions or anybody in the comment section, I'm all ears. I'd like to hear, because this is good. You know, what's interesting about this Wheeler is that it's pretty consistent. You know, as consistent as a trigger can be. You know, it always varies a little bit, but to try to measure double action, you just can't do it. Try to measure the revolver, you just can't do it. And I was playing with that CZ Shadow 2 that has the best double action trigger I have ever felt in my life. And I really wanted to get the trigger weight on that, and I couldn't do it. With the Wheeler.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Suits has got the Lyman digital. And it gives you it gives you, of course, it's digital, and then you can get an average of how many pulls you got, and it'll give you an average of how many pulls, what the average for like 3 or 5 pulls is. And I seen it on Amazon for $49. This on Amazon was $19, I believe, and some change. And I thought, and I was looking at the Lyman at Cabela's, they wanted $59. Of course, $24. It cost me an extra $5. While I was out there, I just picked a dang thing up.
I've got an electronic fish scale from Walmart.
That's exactly. I think that's, if you really want to go over 12 pounds on them, I think you probably have to have a fish scale.
That's what I was looking for. I thought I had it laying here, but I forget. But anyhow, it was, whatever, $10, $15 at Walmart or something like that, I'm sure. It's not perfect for a gun because I probably could bend a hook and make it do better. I just had never got around to it. It's not that big a deal. It's just usually a curiosity thing,
Well, I've always wanted to know, and I haven't done it yet, what the single action is on this. So I'm going to do a comparison video between the CZ single action and the 1911. But that 1911 is just, it's there.
It's like 3.5 pounds.
And it's solid. Once you get that little bit of take up out of it, it's boom. I even put a few runs through old Sally today too. Had to get a little dust off of her.
Nice day to be at the range, finally.
And it's been cold, ain't it?
Yeah.
Good. Lamb almighty. I was telling Rich, I heard we're supposed to get 1 to 3 tomorrow, but then I heard someplace that like 5 to 8 maybe. Wow. I hadn't heard anything official on it other than AccuWeather on the computer or on the app on the phone. It said 1 to 3, but I'm not saying they're not real accurate very often.
No.
Well, I don't have a whole lot tonight, guys. So if anybody's got anything you want to talk about, I will say I apologize for not having it 2 weeks ago. It's like I was telling Rick, it was one of our coldest days, and I think the chill index was like 10 below. And working there at the station when it's cold like that, problems with the pumps, I had to go outside. I was outside while I worked 6 hours. And I was probably outside half of that anyway, helping people. I got home and I got so stiff I couldn't even get down basement steps to have the chat.
Your audio is messing up, Trees.
Minus.
Yeah, are you guys catching that, or is it just me?
Yeah, it's like static, like your where it plugs in is wiggling around or something.
Yeah, it was got kind of messed up. I'm doing a screenshot of this this little pistol, a 1911. It's an American Tactical. I just wanting to see what you guys thought of that. As far as a gun, have you heard anything about these? It's a cheap 1911, but I love the way it looks. It looks like a standard kind of like old government style.
Yeah, it looks like a GI style.
Yeah, and I love that about that. I was just wondering if y'all had heard anything about that company or know anything about it, because it's really cheap. It's like 300. Well, let me see how much it is. $403.
That's a good price. I kind of got soured from ATI after I had a shotgun that they installed the wrong barrel. But I did check out their 1911s that shot, and they seem pretty good. I haven't seen many reviews on them, but boy, is that a 4.4 1/4 inch? I wonder if that's a bushingless.
I think it's got a bushing in it the way it looks in the picture. It looks like it has one.
You just froze up. Did you guys catch that?
I think a lot of those Filipino guns are pretty much the same. They just stamp different names on them. Like I got one that's, if you flip the frame, it's like the same frame as a Rock Island, as far as what's printed on it, I think. But the one I just got like a GI 5-inch model. It runs like a top. It's accurate. The only thing I'd done to it, it had a regular spur hammer, and for just because I run across a sale on a different hammer, I put like a commander hammer on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you call it, but the pawl, like, that runs across inside the gun, the sear or whatever, and that little pawl on the hammer was all the way across on the factory hammer. And the one I put on it, it was only like hitting on the edge, like the hammer itself was just catching on the edge, and it lightened the trigger up to like 4 pounds. And just like, wow. I mean, that's all I did. I didn't polish it, didn't do anything. I did that. Not that it had a bad trigger. I just liked the Commander hammer better because it don't have a big beaver tail or nothing. I just didn't want to make sure I didn't get a hammer bite.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that, and it lightened the trigger up almost a pound. And it's a good shooter. I mean, I've carried it concealed. I trusted it that much, or do.
What 1911 TR?
It was actually, it said high standard on it.
Oh yeah, high standard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make some pretty cool guns.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly they have a little 22 long rifle that it looks like the Ruger, the MK models, but it's a nice little shooter.
Yeah, I just came across it. I wasn't looking for it. I mean, this is just a plain Jane GI model with the little tiny sights and stuff. But it pretty much, to me, it was just like a Rock Island with either another manufacturer or whatever. Like, I got a feeling. Yeah. I got a feeling all them guns are the same. They're just stamping different names on them.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
Yeah,
the barrels, like Mossberg. I don't know about pistols, but I think Mossberg makes like most of the barrels and rifles that we have. It's all different brands.
That's what I've heard about the AR-15s. Most of them are Mossberg barrels, no matter who you buy it from, or what kit you putting together something. Maybe not all of them, but like a majority of them. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I think
I got my eyes set on a Rock Island over a grab gun. I can keep my eye on it. One of these days I might have to spring for it. It's Rock Island 1911 10mm.
Hey, Trees, your audio is really, we can't even hear you. You are really breaking up.
It's crackling like real loud in and out.
The mic on the computer.
There you go.
That one works.
that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing but stand closer.
Huh.
Maybe too far back from it or something.
Yeah. Oh, you cleared the bell now.
That's probably what it is. But yeah, I'd like to get one of them 10 millimeters in a 1911. I don't know why. I just like to have one.
I want one too. Those are cool.
That tactical they got there on at Grab-A-Gun's like, I thought it like 600 and something.
Is that the 6-inch barrel? They have one
5-inch, I think, Dan.
Okay, yeah, they have one that is like a Desert Eagle. I'm gonna look that up.
No, okay. One of these days, I've been collecting some brass. I find 10 millimeter brass out there at the range. I always pick it up once fired.
Yeah, 10 millimeter ain't no joke. That's a round there.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the MSRP on that $798. Yeah, these are real and okay. That's a 5-inch barrel.
What site you looking at?
Rock Island.
Oh,
it's a rock.
Go to Grab-A-Gun. They got better prices than they got.
Yeah, I just wanted to see which one was the larger barrel. Oh, here we go. It's a Pro Match Ultra with a 6-inch barrel. $13.22 is MSRP. Yeah, that's it. It's got the flared magwell. It looks freaking awesome. Wow. Yeah, I want that.
Well, it'll be a hot day in Michigan for us. Spend $1,300 for a gun.
Yeah, well, me too, brother.
So you guys have any thoughts on that SIG 365? Have any of y'all seen anything on that?
Just little bits and pieces of it. And the guys last night on Big Johnson and KS and 1776 was discussing a little bit last night. Or this morning for me. I watched it. Like I said, I watched it this morning.
Yeah. That's a pretty interesting gun, man. 10 rounds. I guess they got a 13-round mag you can get for it, too. That's pretty neat for the size. It does look like looks basically about the size of a G26, but thinner. You know, it's an inch wide as opposed to like the G26, probably about 1.125 or something. Maybe even an inch and a quarter.
The guys last night, I think they said it was a little bit smaller than a Shield. If I remember right, don't hold me to that, but or it's compatible to the Shield and the Glock 43.
Yeah, it looks really nice, and I'm sure it is very nice. The SIG's guns, whenever they put them out, it generates more attention than any other company. You know, when SIG comes out with a new model, it is the biggest deal going.
Yeah.
I got a subject we can talk about right quick. You're just talking about hype, Dan. I made a comment on Coda Boy 32's channel. Let's see. He was talking about something about the Gen 5 Glock, the new one or whatever. I guess it's Gen 5. And comment I made to him was, I don't know that Glock hypes up their stuff as much as it's just gun guys and YouTube channels and magazines, and not that there's anything wrong with talking about it, but I don't really know that. I don't feel like Glock's hyping their next gun up like this is the greatest thing. I think they're just saying, oh, here's our next gun, or here's a new model. And then YouTube and Guns and Ammo and whatever else goes just berserk. Like, oh, we got to check this out. This is the greatest thing. Look at this, look at this, look at it. You know, I don't really I don't see it as Glock being hyping it up. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't think Glock's doing it, because other than what you see on YouTube, you don't see much. I haven't seen anything from Glock as far as official. and I watch a lot of the sportsman's channel, and every once in a while they'll show a commercial with I watch your sergeant's name, Lee Ernie, or whatever his name is, and they'll have a Glock commercial on there with him doing something. But I hadn't seen nothing, or the 19X or the Gen 5. It's just been guys, it's Glock guys on
Trees,
YouTube.
you got to do something. It's cracking up again. If you can.
I don't know what I can do with it because it's in the computer. I'm using Chrome tonight. Maybe that's got something, but normally I use Internet Explorer.
What do you think, Dan? I mean, like I say, I'm not downing Glock. I'm not downing people for talking about the gun or reviewing it. It just, some people claim that there's a lot of hype about it and it ain't that special. And I was just kind of like, well, I don't know that they're hyping it up. I think they just had a new model.
Well, yeah, that was the model. You know, that was the model they submitted to the military. Yeah, I think Glock has the best marketing team in the entire business. I think they are very wise with their advertising dollars, and they know that whatever they put out there, the gun world's going to go crazy. And so I do think they're pretty good. You know, they make a lot of online commercials, and I don't see many other companies doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I usually
they definitely know word of mouth and the gun community is going to promote their stuff. It don't matter what they do. They just do anything new. It's going to get talked about, and it's going to get shown, and it's going to get reviewed, and for good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to happen.
It's also going to get sold out of the local gun store. You know, I remember when they came out with the Glock 42, everybody was disappointed that it was a 380, but yet you couldn't get it. I mean,
yeah,
you could, you know, every time it showed up on Gunbroker, people were overpaying, and everybody was, you know, I'm not getting it. Who needs another 380? And it sold out like nuts. So,
yeah, they got their foot embedded securely in the gun world, no doubt.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you go to SHOT and it's the most boring booth to go to. It really is. They're all black and they're all, you know, they all looked at, you know, the old saying, a Glock's a Glock's a Glock. Well, that's kind of true. I mean, everything from the trigger pull to the way the grip feels, you know, this one a little different. And they're not the only one, you know, to do that. FN did it. CZ did it. A couple others. Beretta did it. Everybody wanted to get in that military contract, and then when they didn't get it, they released it to the public. And I don't have a problem with it. It's just people like want a redesign or something different, but Glock would be crazy to do that because whatever they put out, that 19X is going to sell out. You won't even be able to get one. And there are probably waiting lists that are 3 pages long at each gun store right now. So, you know,
that's funny you mentioned that they look all alike. Like here's like a 380 and the Glock 19. So the 42, it's just the miniature, other than some subtle differences in the side of the frame. It's just like yeah, it's the exact same looking gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to a point, I mean, they got a platform that works. Without designing an entire new gun, there's only so much you can do to it. I mean, you know, like I say, I'm not defending Glock. I'm just saying they just upgrade here and there, and gun world goes crazy when really they're just upgrading, you know, or whatever. I mean, it's like a 1911. I mean, if like Colt was making a 1911, there wasn't so much they can do to it. It's still a 1911 at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, if Glock came out with a 1911, they could even have somebody in the Philippines make it. It would be the biggest thing going, or a revolver, or a carbine. you know, and I think people would like to see their line expanded, but you know, I don't know. I like Glock. I don't know that I love them.
Yeah, I can't wait for the new Glock carbine.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people going crazy over that PC, that Ruger PC carbine. A lot of people go crazy over that.
Yeah, 22 Plinkster's got a video out on it. I haven't watched it yet, but he's got a video out on that new Ruger. Is the sound any better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better.
I don't know what's going on with it.
Well, I think I don't know. I can't. I'm not in marketing. In some ways, I could see Glock not expanding their line, other than what they've been doing, making miniature models and stuff like that. Which that was a pretty big deal, you know, like the 26 and what have you. But if they come out with a totally new gun, totally different firing mechanism and all that, if it failed, it could hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could almost smear the reputation that they got. That might be why hey, we got something that works. It sells. We stock shelves in every gun store you go to. There's a whole Glock section. Why mess with it? That is the Glock perfection. It's not so much the gun, is their marketing and their foot in the gun world is just there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a big footprint for sure. Yeah. It's okay.
Well, and it's interesting because we live in this YouTube bubble. Not always, but you know, because we're on YouTube right now and we all make videos, we live in this little bubble and we get feedback on the stuff that we showcase, and anything new from Glock, people want, you know, something that's new and exciting and something creative, and yet it gives you the impression that nobody likes it. People love it. You know, that 19X, I personally, I wouldn't mind having it. I mean, it's got a cool color to it. I like the idea of 17 rounds, and I think it looks pretty cool. It comes with night sights. I think the MSRP on that is around $650, so I certainly wouldn't pay that. But the world that we see doesn't reflect the real gun world out there. You know, the people going to the gun store, checking stuff out a little bit, but not always. At least my channel. I mean, I put out that Glock Gen 5 video, and man, a lot of people, you know, this is a joke. They came up with ambi controls, and that was no good, you know. So,
well, I'm sure you've all experienced it. When I picked up that little Ruger the other day, I had to wait on a salesman, even though I ordered them. All I had to do was pick them up, sign, you know, do the paperwork and stuff. And you know, there was a couple there, and they were evidently new gun owners. Well, they was for a fact new gun owners. I don't know that they had never shot a gun, but they were definitely new gun, looking to purchase a new gun. And I don't know. I've never worked in a gun store, never really hang out. I go in and out, you know. And, you know, the salesman had to show them and tell them every little feature about every gun. But he mentioned a few guns, you know, like he mentioned Glocks. That's a name he'd heard, you know. He didn't know nothing about the guns, but he knows Glock. You know, he knows a few name brands, you know. And it's like the salesman was having to give them an instruction course on every gun he was showing them, you know.
yeah.
So, yeah, they're getting back to Glock's got their foot in the door. You know, you're going, oh, well, here's a Glock such and such, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's in movies. I hear it, da da da. You know,
And there's always somebody to tell them, don't even shop around, just go get a Glock.
Yeah, but Dan, you're right. It's like we have a different lens that we look through, all of us here on this panel, and I would imagine everybody out in the external as well, where You know, we're not going to get sold on a gun. We're researching that gun and, you know, before we go out and decide to get it or whatever, and we've already made up our mind. It's not like we need somebody to tip us over the edge to, you know, where the salesman's getting a little commission or something.
Yeah.
And probably have already shot the gun or know somebody that shot it, or at least watched a video of somebody we know has shot it, and or something.
You know, but you look at SIG. SIG just came out with the 365. And I bet they'll have something else to showcase at SHOT. Ruger releases 3 new guns, a carbine and 2 handguns, both budget. You know, and you look at some of the other big ones. CZ is always coming up with something new. And they are constantly innovating, constantly coming up with different ideas, feeling the market, seeing what's going on. Glock doesn't necessarily have to do that. The Glock 19 is still the #1 sold gun in the country and the #1 carried gun. It's not heavy, but it's thick, and it's got terrible sights and, you know, decent trigger, not bad, in my opinion. A lot of people say it feels like a staple gun, but they really don't have to do that, I don't think, because the word of mouth, they hit that law enforcement market. You know, they don't need to come out with a revolver. It'd be cool, but I don't think they need it.
That would be cool, a Glock revolver.
Yeah.
Yeah, never thought of that.
Hey, it could happen. Kimber did it.
Yeah.
And Kimber, you know, that's another good example. They come out with this awesome revolver. It's the smallest 6-shot 357 available, smallest and lightest in today's market. And people are like, that thing's a piece of junk. And like, well, have you shot it? Well, no. Well, then how do you know it's a piece of junk? You know, I mean, it's a beautiful revolver. It really is.
It's a sweet looking revolver.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't too hot on it when I first saw it, but once I checked it out at SHOT, and then, you know, I currently own one. It is a nice firearm. They did a good job with it. And Kimber, you know, their forte is they know how to make guns pretty. They're the masters at that.
That's a little pricey gun for a little snubby, though.
It is, but you look at some of the Smiths, and they're in the $700-800 range. I know the J frames typically aren't, but the K frames and the K frames they're in the $700-800 range. And
oh yeah, you get into them.
Yeah, people don't think twice about it. You know, they don't think twice about it.
Yeah, who would have thought that revolvers would be priced over semi-autos?
And
the tides have changed. Like when I first started buying guns, I think over half the guns on the shelf were revolvers, if not the majority, you know, in the early 90s. And now it's flipped. There's one little bitty revolver section.
It's a shame, too, because there's a ton of revolvers I really want, but I don't want to spend $900, you know,
exactly,
on a pistol or a revolver.
No, I agree.
I like a good wheel gun, though.
Well, getting back to Rock Island, you can get that Filipino.
Yeah,
for
that's true.
$200.
That's true.
It's like I really want a 44 mag pistol, any one, and you can't get any 44 mag pistol cheaper than like a Taurus 44 or something. And I've heard good things about the Taurus revolvers, but they don't appeal to me like some of the others, your Smith & Wessons and Rugers, and I would love something, you know, that like a 686 Talo, or something like that. Just a really sweet looking, shiny, beautiful revolver with, nice looking grips on it. And you can't find that for under, minimum like $900.
Yeah. And when you get into their custom shop revolvers, you're looking at 4 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really are sweet. I had the opportunity to shoot a couple 686s. They were not mine. I reviewed them, and man, they were phenomenal.
Yeah, SoCal mentioned out there in the external the Glock 44 Magnum, said no one, and that's a really good point. That's what we need is a Glock 44 mag.
Yeah.
Then maybe it wouldn't be $900. It'd be $600. It should be a little high anyway.
I tell you what, if they did chamber, say a Glock 17 or one of their bigger, what is it, 20s? Is it the 20 that's 10 millimeter?
Yeah,
Chambered something like that in a 44 mag. Can you imagine what a handful that would be in that thing? Woo. That would almost probably hurt.
Oh, I bet it would. It would definitely hurt. Something the weight of a Glock, that would be ridiculous. Yeah. It hurts in a heavy revolver. Does me anyway. Maybe I'm just a wimp, but it's a hefty round.
Yeah, it sure is. Get a Desert Eagle, Rich. Take care of that for you.
Yeah, that looks like a whole different beast as far as managing that recoil. But I'd like to have one of those, but they're up there pretty good as well, price wise.
Yeah, you can get a plain Jane one for about $1,400. That's a lot.
Plain Jane.
Well, they do all that Cerakoting now. I've got mine in burnt bronze, but I am patiently waiting to find out how that car contest went. By the way, there were six entries into that. I don't know if you guys are even aware of it, but car put on another contest, and the grand prize is $10K. And
oh, really? I hadn't heard anything about it. I hadn't seen anything on YouTube on it or anything.
They didn't really market it like they had in years past. 2 years ago, when I entered and I was fortunate enough to win, they were marketing like crazy. Like they were getting on YouTube, and anybody who had a car video, they were leaving comments, "Hey, enter our contest." And there were 8 or 9 entries. This time they upped it to 10,000, and there were only 6 entries. And one guy who entered, he won the contest last year, but he runs a Nerf gun channel, but he's got like 500,000 subscribers. And so he put his video out, and he immediately got he has like 34,000 views, but it's not based on, it's not based on views this time. They're going to have a panel of judges, and they're going to evaluate who did the best job representing their guns. So we'll see. I've got a shot. Russ, the Firearm Patriot, he has a shot. He put together a video that compared the CW380 with the LCP2. So he's got a running shot at it. I reviewed the PM45 and this other guy. And then there were a couple other guys that made videos with their phones. One guy, it looked like he didn't have any arms. He was shooting the gun with his feet, with his toes, and hitting the target. So he's sitting in a lawn chair. He picks the gun up with his feet, aims it with his feet, shoots it, and hits his target. Yeah.
Wow.
I was impressed.
I've seen people play piano with their feet and stuff. I've never seen anybody shoot a gun with it.
Yeah, it was interesting, but unfortunately, it wasn't a great video because it was a cell phone, shaking around kind of thing. So, I mean, a good camera and some good editing, he would probably do much better.
I don't own one, so I didn't enter.
Well, like I said, they didn't market it. They put a couple ads up on Facebook, a couple ads on Instagram, and that was about it.
I hadn't seen a thing on it. Let's go to the external here and do a quick rundown on some so I don't forget it later on.
You're breaking up right now, Don.
Yeah, we can't hear words you're saying.
All right. I don't know what's going on with it.
If you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we'll do a rundown right quick. Got WTF SoCal, Freeload, reloading from the hot pot, 1776 or bust. Insight Freedom, Pop's Quest, Tool Monkey, Timothy Robinson, Fuzz Fork 8. Reloading from the hot pot. For a new name, Robin Jones. Like I said, Tool Monkey already. V-Borg, 001, Keith Gregory, Daniel, God is my judge. Loads of Bacon, The Crazy Scotsman, Chico Wise, MCK, HRM Weapons Machinist. Like I said, Inside Free, Gilliland 426. The Reloader Dude. Looking for new names. Red October was in earlier. I don't know if he's still out there. Stump Greenwood, South Carolina. Still looking for new names. I think I got everybody. Here's Your Six Covered was in here earlier. AZ Patriot. Big Johnson Guns and Gear. 6'8" guy. 6'8" 6'8" guy. Anyhow, he knows what I'm talking about.
Big Doug. Coda Boy came in too.
Oh, there's some of them jumping in now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Devin Travis. A bunch of names out there I hadn't seen.
Yeah. Devin Travis 0121. I see that one. Yeah, Coda Boy. All right. I think that's mainly. If I missed anybody, sorry. Al Osborne. There's another one I hadn't seen before. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I might have missed somebody, but looks like we got a pretty good crowd. Bald and Curious.
Yeah, 76. I'm just all natural. It's naturally beautiful like that.
Are you guys watching the chat on a separate screen?
I'm not looking at the chat. I have the you got the option to pop the chat window out, so that window is just the chat, and I'm using that, thinking it, hoping it won't use as much bandwidth to keep me from roboting or whatever.
Okay.
If you go up, I forget how I done it now. Seems like where the live chat is. If you go up to where the little three dots are, I think you hit that, and then it gives you a little drop-down menu, and you can do a pop-out chat, and it'll pop up a window, and it's nothing but the live chat.
Oh. I see where it says chat in the upper left-hand corner.
So look to the right-hand corner.
Oh.
And you got the little three dots. You click on that, it should pop open a little window.
I don't see it. That's all right.
Yeah. Anyhow, something to look for. I think it'll end up using less bandwidth because you ain't got the video. It's just the live chat. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
when I go back and look at my videos, I'll see where I maybe just roboted a second or two. You won't hear a word or two or something. And so I'm trying to cut down the bandwidth a little bit and try that option, see if that helps.
A Glock shotgun. Yeah, one of those little like short barrels with the ball handle on it or whatever that they call a non-firearm. That's what Glock needs to put out.
Yeah, really. Maybe they should start with a shotgun. Can't get any more simple than that.
Right.
I don't think they're going to do a thing.
The G53. I'm a little frustrated. I'm wanting to get I've been looking at the site of one of my local gun stores. I've got a site, like I just showed you a picture off a site similar to that with that 1911. They've had a CZ SP01, one of the steel models that had night sights and whatnot, a really nice looking gun. They had like 17 of them yesterday. They're all gone today. And no more to be found.
What was you looking for? I'm sorry, I was reading.
That's a CZ SP01. Just, I guess, just the standard model. They started making them again or something. I don't know. But with the steel, it's kind of what I'm wanting to get next. But I don't know if there's going to be one around, and then I'll have a little bit of money to get something, and I'll end up having to go on to something else. So kind of sucks.
I like just a standard old original 75 myself.
I've thought about that, and there's plenty of those right now, but they could be gone tomorrow too when next time I look. But they've got that site's got a bunch of them on there. That's a nice one, the 75B and the BD, and the thing that appeals to me, I guess, about that SP01 is just the round count. It comes with, this one says 19 rounds. I think that might be a mistake on the site where it's 18 rounds, but just a few more rounds. That's kind of what I'm wanting to get, a good full size. And that's the only downfall for me for the 75 is just the ones I've seen are like 15 rounds.
You should be able to get 17 round mags for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can get +2 where they'll hold 19, but then it sticks out a little bit.
Yeah. But those are good looking guns. They look really nice. The way I like how the slide is really slim, like it is on my P01. It's just, and for me, some people have a problem, I think, with the gripping of those like short slides like are on those CZs, but it works fine for me. Yeah. And I really like how those look.
There's the standard CZ75 mag, and it don't hang down. That's a 17 round mag.
Okay.
You carry 18, one in the chamber. That's the way I carry. Like I say, the extra mag, I'll carry the +2. Throw it in the truck or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are Metcar.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yep.
Metcar makes I got a couple 11 round 1911 mags. They are really sweet. And some 20 rounds for the P226.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with a Metcar magazine. I mean, they work so good, and manufacturers use them as factory mags. So, I mean, that speaks loads for them right there.
Yeah, they're the best.
Matter of fact, that Knick I got, that CZ75B clone, that's what it came with, was Metcar mags.
Well, that's what they make on their new one. They use Mekar. Their new one. What is it? The TP9 SFX that has a 20 round mag, and that's a Mekar mag.
Nice.
Yep, +2 base plate. Steyr uses Mekar mags. I know a lot of the SIG models use Mekar. I think Taurus uses Mekar. Not completely sure about that one, being they're Brazilian, but yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was looking at my little LCP. It might have a Mekar, but it's got Ruger stamped on it.
Mm-hmm. I'll be interested.
Get back to that little Ruger LCP. I do think I pointed it out in the video. I do think I won't have the magazine popping out with this like I did the Caltech. Every time I stuck my hand in my, like if I just carried it in my jacket pocket, that little Caltech, every time I grabbed it, that magazine popped out. Every freaking time.
Wow, that's annoying.
Yeah. Well, if you look at, and maybe it's just the older Caltex, the grip goes down and that magazine catch is just sticking out big time. You know, I mean, it's just way out there. And it's the Ruger really isn't any higher. They just recessed it into the grip, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be better for that. But
DP original.
What's that? Did
you just get that?
Yeah, I just got it, but it's the old model, or you know, it's not the new.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Palomino State Army is running a sale on them for $169. I just got it to be getting it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, back in the day, people were paying $450 for that
when
it first came out, probably 8 years ago. I remember I was at a gun show. These two people, there was this one vendor had one left, and there were these two people side by side outbidding each other. It ended up getting close to $500.
Wow,
it was outrageous.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I sat there and watched the show. I eventually got one. I think I paid like $350 for it.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, they were.
What I guess
since they got
their new model out, they're just trying to. I don't know if Ruger's overstocked or just trying to use up old stock, and they're just unloading them cheap or what? You know?
Yeah, I think they're all doing that. I really do. You know, you look at, like I look at Car Arms. You know, they came out with the S and the ST9. And so now their C models are going for under $300, like one after another.
Nice.
The very gun I paid $450 for, like 7 years ago. The CM9, I couldn't wait to get that. They came out with it, CM9. I ran to this, called the store, said take it off the shelf. I'm coming right now. I paid $450 for. You can get that gun for like $260 now. And I'm seeing the same thing with, well, Ruger, the worst thing you can do with the Ruger is buy a gun right away, because a month later they drop the price big time. Same with Smith, except for their revolvers.
Mm-hmm.
Smith drops the price within. I paid what, $425 for my shield. If somebody would have told me like 3.5, 4 years later, you'll be able to get it for $250, I would have been, no way. People were paying $600 for the shield when it first came out. Same with the X. Same with the X.
Last year, the Palomino State Armory was like almost giving shields away. It was like only another $100-$200, or I don't even think it was $200. It's like buy AR-15 and we'll give you a shield. You know, one of them Black Friday sales or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, crazy. SD9, there you go, Rich. This summer they were selling for $200.
Nice.
SD9.
I paid way too much for mine, apparently. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good price. It's a good gun for that price for sure.
It sold out quick though. It sold out quick. By the time I got around to it, it was gone.
Yeah, Pops Quest put it out there. PSA, they was selling the shield and an AR for $600.
That's nuts. That is really nuts.
Because I remember I remember it was really cheap because I was like, well, that's almost too good a price to pass up. I mean, you know, you teasing a man like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
That's almost making you spend money. It's like, well, I can't pay. That's the reason I bought that little Ruger. I mean, it wasn't for that little bit of money. It's just like, why not? I mean,
exactly. Well, and I know like you look at the Remington RP9, that gun reviewed so poorly, and I was in on it. I had a little problem with mine, and I sent it in, and they fixed it. But I got it back, and I shot the lights out with it. I just really shot that gun well. I don't know what it was. I just really shot it well. And yet those early reviews kind of killed it. You know, it originally was like a $380 gun. The early reviews killed it. People were buying it this summer for what, $185. They were having rebates and all that. But I paid $250 for mine. No, I paid $300 for mine and got a $50 rebate. So I had $250 into it. People were after the rebates, you know, another $70 cheaper. That's crazy. Two 18-round magazines, 3 backstraps, 4.5-inch barrel, sweet trigger, and I just really shoot that gun well.
which gun is that again?
Remington RP9.
Okay.
They had $50 rebates going on there, and I ended up with $250 out of the pocket. I got it from CDNN, and it continued to drop since then. It was like the housing market a couple of years ago. It just kept dropping and dropping and dropping.
Yep.
This is a great time for a new shooter to get involved.
Oh yeah, it's, oh my goodness, the different models that's out there. I almost felt sorry for that little couple I was talking about earlier that was looking for a gun and they didn't really have much, if any, knowledge of guns, you know. And I mean, they was very enthusiastic and all, but it's just like they was in Palmetto State Army and they got, I mean, a buttload of handguns in there, and I could say it's almost like kids in a candy. Well, now me, I'm more like a kid in a candy store. They were just in awe. They didn't know which way to turn, look, or whatever. It was really probably information overload, trying to pick out something, you know, when they got really not much to base it on.
It's hard to. I tell people when and there have been quite a few people. I say, whatever you do, don't go to a gun store and ask the guy behind the counter, what should I get? Because that, you know, everybody's biased in some way, you know, and plus they don't want to spend all afternoon with you either. So I invite them over, show them a couple things to look for, see if anything I have is interesting to them. And then I tell them to go to the range and rent it, or go with me and we could shoot it. But, you know, you're not necessarily going to walk out with it, you know.
Yeah, I think it's good for, there is an advantage if you're a new shooter to go into a gun store that has a shooting range and they have rental guns or however they do it, you know. It won't be every gun they got, but it'll be a little variety to at least point them in a good direction, maybe. If not maybe the cheapest way to do it, but I mean, if you're a new shooter or pretty new shooter, yeah, that's a pretty good tool to use.
Well, and to top it off, ammo is available, and it's stocked up pretty good now too. So you got everything going for you as a new shooter, especially with all the models coming out and people dumping off their old stock. You know, that Ruger, nobody knew the Security 9 was coming out. I mean, nobody had a clue. And then all of a sudden they introduced the Security 9. They have all these 9Es out there. They're dumping them off for $250, and people are eating them up and saying, this is an awesome gun for $250. You know, it wasn't that long ago that gun would be $450, well, maybe $400.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, I still think, and I could be wrong on this, it may have been now that it's been a year later. I think all the gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers were running full blast, waiting for Hillary to win, waiting for the next gun scare. I think there's just an overstock by the entire market.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we saw that in the AR market. What could you ever imagine getting an AR-15 built for $400?
Yeah, exactly.
With Magpul furniture on it. I mean, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
This is what happened before 2012. I remember going and picking up a couple AR mags and thinking, oh, I'm good with two. I'm good with two. I already got a couple. I'll get two here, two there. I'll do the same with ammo. And then boom, all of a sudden, $50 for an AR mag. And I remember thinking there was a whole box of them, and I was, getting all wishy-washy over $11 mag, and there were a whole box of them. They couldn't give them away. Then all of a sudden there was a shortage, and people were charging $50. And then if you loaded it up, people were charging $70-$80 because you couldn't get the ammo either.
Yep.
So things could change in an instant.
It's a buyer's market right now. Whether you're a new shooter, a new gun owner, or a gun nut, right now is time to scarf up as much as you can get a hold of. I don't think it's going to get any cheaper than it is right now.
Yep, I agree with you.
Definitely not. There'll be that next little bit of fear when we have like our midterms coming up here, I guess towards the end of this year, and depending on what happens there, it could make a big difference.
Well, people were pushing the panic button after that Las Vegas incident, and I didn't see the market move in any direction. It continued to drop. So, the Trump effect, the Trump slump, as they call it, is out there. I mean, people just feel safe and that they don't need to panic buy.
I don't know. Maybe
really a good place
somehow
for
it
the
does
market.
stay like relatively the same type of climate with companies paying less taxes and whatnot. We may even actually be able to see a little bit more cheaper.
It's possible
on stuff. Yeah, that would be cool. Go for the $300 AR.
Yeah, could you imagine? I did that a long time ago. I owned like 8 Mosins, and I was just buying them up. I'm like, I love these. I can't get enough of them. And I kept buying Mosins for like under $100. And the ammo, I got a couple of those spam cans of 440 rounds of X54R. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep buying Mosins because eventually these are going to be worth more money. And then as time went on, I saw things that I wanted, and I used them as trade bait. Couldn't work out a deal. I said, I'll throw in a Mosin. They'd say, okay. I'm like, yeah, this is a perfect trade bait. Because after that, I realized I don't want to be a Mosin enthusiast. There's too much to know. Is it Finnish? Is it Chinese? Is it Russian? Is it American? I mean, there was so much to Mosins. And so I figure I'm just going to keep one Mosin. Then next thing you know, what happens? They go up to $300, sometimes $350 for these Mosins that I was dumping off as trade bait. So you never really know what's going to happen. I wish I was one of those guys that just said, you know what? I'll never sell a gun or trade a gun again in my life.
That's me.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, I missed out. I should have got a Mosin back several years ago when they were like $150, $200, which they probably were cheaper than that back in the day. But when I first started kind of getting into firearms, they were about right around 200. Now you can't find one for near that.
And the bad thing is the ammo went up so much, you might as well just go to Walmart and get you a Savage or a Mossberg 30-06 or 308.
Yeah.
The
same price in a brand new gun.
Yeah, the advantage of that cheap ammo is gone now.
Yeah, that's true. You used to be able to pick up a spam can of 440 rounds for like $89.
Yep.
And that really changed.
And that was after the price had gone up.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was cheaper than that.
I got my Mosin the cheapest of anybody, I think. I won it on YouTube.
Nice.
Well, that's cool.
I forget the channel name right now, but he'd had a contest and he's giving away Mosin the gun, and you had to do a VR. And he didn't do a drawing. He picked the video for somebody who he thought would appreciate the gun and not just get it to unload it and try to make money on it. And he picked my video.
Wow.
Does the guy still have a channel?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'd have to look. But it's like, I hadn't seen any videos from him in a long time. That was several years ago when I won that. But it was like AK-47 Gun God or something. It wasn't the 5.56 guys. It was AK-47 something. I forget now. But I hadn't seen a video from him. I mean, that was several years ago. I think when I first started in like 2012, this channel or whatever. Yep, Tool Monkey. It's the Devil's Rifle. The serial number is 666 on it.
Oh, no. I think I may have one of my rifles may have a 666 in the serial number somewhere. I could be wrong.
It wasn't the original serial number, but you know how they put a new serial number, or they, like the ATF or whatever, puts a serial number on some of those old surplus rifles, and that was the serial number they put on it.
Huh.
Well, back in the day, you could pick up an AK-47 for $250 at the hardware store. Look at how that has gone.
Yeah.
You know,
I think when the SKSs were selling for like $60-$70, wasn't there the Norinco AKs in the $200 range?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the SKSs were cheaper than the AKs that were cheap. People were snuffing at that, you know.
Yeah, I wish I'd have bought a bunch of those Norinco AKs.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just,
you know, I could envision in 6 months from now saying, hey, do you guys remember this chat we were having when we were talking about how cheap guns were? Man, if I didn't buy, you know, I wish I would have bought a couple of those Palmettos and a couple of this and a couple of those handguns, because they were dirt cheap. And so I don't blame you one bit, TR, for buying that LCP. You saw it for $169. Why not? Why not? If you decide you don't like it, you can throw it. You can use it for a trade or whatever.
I can blow that much money going to taking like Sonya to a movie and a dinner. They'd probably spend more than that.
Yep, it's true.
Even that Ruger that you just reviewed, that was it Security 9? Ain't that what it's called?
Yeah, Security 9.
For the price that they're going for, I don't really want another 9mm with different magazines and stuff, but at that price, it's almost like I might just need to get that. I don't know.
It's a cool gun. It is. Nobody knows so far about the longevity of it, you know, but it is a Ruger, and they have some of the best customer service in the world, and they stand by their products, you know. Longevity is a huge thing. I mean, it really is. You know, you see people say, yeah, the gun runs great for the first 500 rounds. After that, when all the problems come in, that's really, you know, if I wanted to be a real good reviewer and had a lot of money, I would shoot 500 rounds initially and then say, look, I shot 500 rounds through this, and this is what failures I had, if any. You know, that would be good reviewing skills. It just costs too much to do that. Need to get an ammo sponsor to agree to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why the ammo companies aren't just contacting me to send me ammo to shoot. I don't get it.
They don't do that? Because I thought they were doing that all along.
No, not the first one. No free ammo for Rich.
That's
you may have to change your catch line at the beginning and not say, this is a stupid video. Maybe that's something
might have something to do with it.
I ain't never had an ammo manufacturer contact me either.
You know, ammo.
I will say that KCI sent me a gift certificate to buy ammo to test their magazine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they bought hundreds of dollars worth or anything, but I don't know if I'm supposed to say money. It wasn't much, but it was, you know, enough to buy enough to load it up a few times anyway. 75 round drum, you know.
Pops mentioned out in the chat, I did actually send Pops 1 round of 9mm ammo to review. Yeah. Almost wasn't worth the marking on the box, you know, the stamp and all that for the shipping. And yeah.
Well, if you
Rich, you have to be old and white like Hickok. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I'm nowhere near as old as Hickok.
If you do it the truly correct way, it costs you $25 plus shipping.
Yeah, it was expensive. That was an expensive round. Sure enough.
Yep.
I had another thought, but I lost it on something I was going to bring up. I done forgot what I was going to say now.
I've got a thought. I've been studying 45 GAP because my buddy's got a Glock 37 and he paid $260 for that police turn-in, 3 mags and night sights, pristine condition, size of a Glock 17, full size. And I was looking at GAP ammo because that's typically outrageously expensive. I found Target Sports had boxes of 50 rounds. I can't remember. I think it may have been S&B. $14, lower than 45 ACP. Now that stuff used to be, you know, $24 for, you know, like over 50, right around 50 cents a round. $14. So I guess we'll see.
You need to get into reloading, Dan.
I know.
That's a whole nother beast, I know, but
it is. And that's the thing, you know, it's like, I'd also love to play an instrument, but I'm 50 years old. The chances of me actually learning something like that and run a business and have a job and have a family and have a YouTube channel, it's like, wow. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of things I'd love to do. What I need somebody to do is say, this is my reloading equipment. It's now yours. This is how you do it, and hold my hand through the whole process. And that's not going to happen. So, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And once you do, it's really rewarding. I mean, once you go through that process the first time, which is like almost everything, I guess your first time, you always remember that a little more fondly. And so when you go through that whole thing, it's like, wow, I can do this. It's not like rocket science or anything, but a lot of it's fear, you know, like people are afraid they're going to blow their hands off or whatever, but you just got to kind of go beyond that. Just, you know, be careful with what you're doing and research it and get good advice from these fellas like TR and Don and all these other guys. Had it not been for all you all, you know, and C-Max, like C-Max used to call me up, and, you know, before I was just starting to kind of get into it, and he'd be like, you know, give me all this advice and whatnot, and sent me like a private video and going through it. And I watched that, and it's like, it all just clicked after like talking about it for like 3 months or whatever. And then watching that video, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was very rewarding. I'll be doing that all weekend, just loading up some 357C. It's supposed to rain and snow and ice and stuff. And so I'm just going to be in here tinkering around, loading up the cases.
Yeah, I've threatened to do it. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to go out of my way and do a video showing how I started reloading. I mean, it would make people just, of course, I'm also the same guy that shot myself and operated on myself on YouTube, but I didn't have a scale. I used the little lead dippers. I mean, it was so basic that, I mean, looking back at it, it's like, it's a wonder I didn't hurt myself. But I mean, at the same time, you know, if you buy lead eyes, it comes with a little dipper. You don't even really technically have to have a scale. You know, I mean, that's all.
Right.
Powder, dyes, a press.
And getting over like that initial fear, like it, from the way I see it, and I'm sure you could mess it up, but you get, you know, once you start doing it, a pistol round, it's almost like, I think it would be, you'd have to almost purposely mess up like a 9mm to make it dangerous or something. You know, it's a lot simpler than what it seems like.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as dangerous or complicated as people think it is. It's pretty basic. I mean, you can get technical with it, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody was to start fresh and to get all the equipment, what are they looking at? About $500?
No. You can get a kit from Lee for about $120, and then you just got to buy your powder, primers, and bullets.
Yeah, everything you need would be in that kit, to basic stuff to get you going.
Maybe say 140 if you include dyes at the most, and then the kit comes with scale, everything you need, bird, yeah, just like that press behind Rich right there.
Yeah.
What about the tumblers and all that stuff?
Technically, you don't have to have none of that. That just makes it better, nicer, makes better looking ammo. I reloaded for years without cleaning my brass. I picked it off the ground and reloaded it.
Or, I mean, you could use soap and water and dry them out and get most, you know, the crud off of them. And, you know, it's just, but, you know, we like them nice and shiny and all that stuff. So then you get like tumblers, and there's various different ones. Like I got like the Frankfurt Arsenal or something. I forget what you call it, Frankfurt or something, but it's just a tumbler with like, you use like this walnut mead in it, which is you get that for the tumbler. I think was like $30, and then you got to buy the material to put in it. But there's all kinds of different ways, wet tumbling, and I think it's all relatively like $30 to $70 or something roughly for like tumbling systems.
You can actually buy a tumbler at Harbor Freight for like $40 or $50. It's a pretty big one too. And they sell the media as well. They don't sell it for bullets or, I mean, shells. They should sell it as a rock tumbler or whatever, for hobbies or something, or cleaning tools or whatever. But it's the same thing. That's what I got right now. Well, I got a Frankfurt wet tumbler too, but not trying to talk you into anything, but I will go ahead and confess, if you get into reloading, it'll be like getting into guns. As much as I would like to see you to reload, you'll end up spending a lot of money on reloading equipment because you'll get addicted to it and you'll keep thinking, you know what, that would be better to have that, or that would be better. Oh, I need a Dillon now. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true because I know me, and that's what would happen. But my good buddy Trees, who I think silenced himself, told me in the chat here that he would kind of hold my hand through the process. And
yeah, Tree's got a good little system going on there with his new Hornady, and that's I think that's like for me, I hadn't got to that point yet. I'm still like in the single stage press. I'm not like trying to crank out a bunch. And in all honesty, I couldn't afford to buy enough bullets and primers to crank in, you know, cases or whatever to crank out like tons. So it kind of fits me with my budget. You know, I can crank out like I'll probably reload 750 rounds this weekend, you know, and over the whole weekend. So maybe a couple hundred a day or something, but, or, you know, 300, whatever. But, it's all like for me, I do want to move up to like a Dillon 550 or 650, but I'm not really ready for that investment. And then I'm not really ready to feed it because I'm going to want to, you know, really crank them out at that point.
Yeah, don't listen to them other guys out there on the side. Get a 550. That's all a man needs. Use that extra $100 to buy powder and primers.
And my thumb, I've got tough skin. I wouldn't get like a blister on my thumb from, you know, I could move it around and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I find it rewarding. But like TR said, you're going to go into a whole nother thing. I was kind of, when we were having this conversation just now, I was thinking, had I not bought reloading equipment and then all the different, you know, powder and bullets and cases and everything that I have purchased, I probably could have bought 2 or 3 firearms, you know, this past year or so. And so you got to weigh it all out.
But just like you said, Rich, it's a good rainy day, you know, something. If you have extra time, it's a rainy day, it's snowing or whatever, you know, and just go in your little man cave for an hour and pump out a few, you know, some rounds.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to do it. It ain't like it's an 8-hour job. You can do it 30 minutes, an hour at a time. I just leave all my stuff set up. It's just sitting there, and all you got to do is just grab and go.
Yeah,
and then,
that's
okay, I'm done, you know, and go do something else.
Plus, I've got like in this past year that I've started, I've probably at least doubled my ammo that I have available, and I've shot a lot more than I was before too. So that's a huge benefit, you know,
that's
especially
huge.
for like you, Dan. You shoot a lot, and, you know, it's not cheap.
Yeah, it was always something I was going to do. And then as years have gone by, I'm like, oh yeah, that's something I'm going to do. And it's just, you get comfortable with that, especially because the price of ammo dropped. And I'm like, well, you know, I go $50 will buy me a lot more today than it did a couple years ago. And then that's something I was going to do never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I went the extra step. I cast my own bullets too, and it gets down to ridiculous prices. I mean, I was reloading like 9mm for $6-7 a round.
That's amazing.
It's time, it's equipment, you know, and even the lead's hard to get now, or harder. It's not as cheap as it used to be. Used to be you got lead for free. Now you got to poke, prod, beg, borrow, or buy it. And so it's not as cheap as it used to be, but it's still cheaper. But that's a whole nother thing too. But I'm a tinkerer. I mean, I'm a mechanic, you know. I like fooling with stuff. And so when I got into reloading, it's because I wanted to get into the mechanics of even the bullet, the cartridge, you know. And then when I got good at reloading, then I wanted to make my own bullets, you know. I had to be involved in the whole process.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's you know, when things get really tight, you'll be okay.
Well, that's what I know. We're dragging this on, Don. Sorry. Well, that's how I got into the casting the 223 bullets for the AR-15. I hate to brag. I won't pat myself on the back. I know for a fact I was the first one to ever do that on YouTube because I couldn't find any information on it, and I came up with a whole series and casted bullets for the 223, shot them in the AR-15, and proved it worked to the world.
Nice.
That's cool.
And right, I bought my mold, and within 2 weeks, you couldn't buy. It was when the first gun scare hit. Well, I guess it wasn't the first, but it was right there at 2012. When I mean, ammo, guns, everything dried up. I was like, well, I'll make my own bullets because I can't buy any.
Awesome. That's somewhere where I feel like I need to go eventually. Probably my next step may be the casting because, I mean, like you said, the cost is just, you know, as long as you can find a supply of lead, and I could probably hook up with some, you know, some people to get like tire weights and whatnot and something, you know.
Well, bottom line, even if you have to, you can go to a scrap yard and you can buy lead at a scrap yard. That ain't the best option, but it's an option, and it's still pretty cheap. Right now, it's pretty cheap. It might not seem cheap. You get a 5-gallon bucket for $50, but it makes a lot of 9mm or 45s.
I bet it would, or 223. Yeah, it's awesome.
Another problem with wheel weights right now is most of them, a lot of them are steel or zinc. So if you get wheel weights, not all of it is usable, but it's still, compared to buying bullets, it's still cheaper.
Yeah.
And you can literally melt lead like with you can get the little portable, like an oven eye. I mean, a stove eye, you know, like a little, just where you just plug it in one thing. You got, and like a real heavy duty cast iron pot. You can melt lead in that, get a dipper. You can buy Lee molds for $20 and you're casting bullets. Boom.
So there you go. I'd probably have my girlfriend pick up one of the little stoves at the Goodwill or something.
You know what I'm talking about? It'd just be like the one little single eye you might have if you living in the hotels, traveling.
Right. Just like a little burner. Just, yeah.
Because when me and my buddy reload, we got one of those going with a little cast iron pot. It's just a little pot. And we feed it, make sure to keep that pot melted. And then when both of us got like a Lee regular casting pot, and when we get low on that, we'll take that pot, fill it back up. You ain't got to wait for the lead to melt, and then start chunking lead back in it. You know, we just kind of like a production. And we'll do it. It's that time right now. It's winter. You get cold, rainy weekends or whatever, we'll get together and we'll just cast all day long. And we cast enough in the winter that I'll have more than enough to last the rest of the year.
Awesome. You just never know. I mean, you know, the world ends too, and we have a few weeks left. We may need to just fully manufacture our ammo. So,
yeah, you get into it, you need, you know, 10, 20,000 primers sitting to the side, you know, 10, 20, 30 pounds of powder. I mean, I don't have as much as I wish I had, but I know I got 10 or 15,000 primers, probably 15 pounds of powder. And I'm not even really reloading that much, you know, as far as rifle and stuff right now, but I can. I got the brass, I got the bullets, I got the powder, I got the primers. If it dries up, I don't stop shooting.
Nice.
Except for 22s.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to hop out of here.
Okay.
I'll be up early. So, thanks again, Trees. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome as always. And I guess we'll see you next time. But I appreciate it. You guys take care.
Later, Dan.
Bye, guys.
We went over your allotted time, Don. Got on some good reloading stuff. That is one thing about YouTube. I know there has been a lot of new reloaders that's come around and got into it, which is a good thing to see. I enjoy seeing it anyway.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was watching a chat earlier. Rick was doing one. Had some people on talking about reloading. I enjoy it because I'm still learning, you know, but it's a lot of fun.
Does this thing sound any better, or is it still messed up?
Sound good.
Yeah, doing
I
good
don't
now.
know why it's coming in and out like that.
You never know.
Bye. You guys had the ball. I let you run with it. It's hard to sit here and not be able to get into the reloading part of it, though.
Yeah, I bet.
You've been doing it longer than me.
Too long.
I think.
Well, we'll go ahead and close it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
go
I
ahead.
think I started probably in 91, 92.
Got something to do with my neck, huh? SoCal, is that scratching out?
No, I think he's just kidding.
Oh, no.
Might be something. Who knows?
Anyway. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close her out. And I want to thank everybody out there in the side chat. Sorry I couldn't participate a little bit better, but maybe next time we'll have to find out what's wrong with this microphone on this thing. So with that, we're going to say good night, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks. You guys got anything you want to say?
Resist.
Just later.
Resist.
Bye later.